Okay, welcome back. So I just watched the recording of what we'd done, and it looks like everything went according to plan. You can hear me talking, you can see me typing, and what more do you need? So to get a bit meta, here it is.
Okay.
Looks good, right? So let's continue. Okay, first things first. I think what we will do is we will make a new project, maybe. I'll keep these notes open so that we can kind of store some links to various useful things we find along the way. But usually, anyway, so welcome to my setup. So usually I've got a bunch of kind of work-related things and personal files and blogs and all sorts of random stuff in my home directory. So I usually put stuff that I'm working on in relation to code in the code directory. Just turn down the music again. I guess that's the problem with classical music, is it doesn't stay at the same volume. And this is Mr. Itzhak Perlman playing the Prokofiev Concertos and Sonatas. So if you like it, you can find more by googling that. Anyway, yeah, I usually have a bunch of kind of stuff that I'm currently working on in the code directory, and I also have like a work directory where I put work stuff unrelated to kind of personal code. And given that this is currently kind of like a personal project, it'll go in the code directory. What else can I say about that? Not much. Let's do, why not, a Haskell project. So I've got what I like to use is a simple HPAC template for stack-based Haskell projects. So let's call this one, we'll just call it screencast. And away we go. So we'll go into the screencast directory. And what we might do is just make sure that we're using the same LTS as the current one my kind of system is using, so that if there's any kind of projects I don't have to re-download, we'll save a bit of time. So that's LTS 14.10. If I cut my stack global project stack, then 14.8 I think is what we want. So let's edit stack.yaml, and then we'll change that to 14. Ooh, it didn't copy. 14.8. I wonder why that didn't copy. Anyway, should be all good now. And then let's just do a sanity check. See if that works. Hello world. Great, we're in business. Halfway there. So, let's have a think. What should we do first? There's a lot of different things that we could do. So, maybe I'll do the part that I know how to do, so that we'll have a foothold. Build a little Scotty application, and then we'll try and like orchestrate that to do the rest of the kind of more important parts of the project. So this part shouldn't take too long. Yes, let's go to the web and just see if there's any useful notes about how you're meant to build Scotty applications these days. I think not much has changed since last time I've looked at this, so should be all good. The only thing left, I guess, is figuring out what it's called on Hackage, but I'm going to hazard a guess and say that it's called Scotty. So let us check. Yeah, great, it is called Scotty. Surprise, surprise. This is a fairly new computer, so actually some things might not be set up on it yet, but yeah, it's not too bad. So let's have a look at our package, and we'll put Scotty in there. And then let's run it again. Yeah, looks okay. So one thing worth noting is that I usually, when I'm doing kind of lightweight little stuff, I'll just use Vim. I know a lot of people have very fancy setups, kind of IDE style setups for their Haskell, but I really like just kind of relying on the compiler most of the time. But I have one special thing, which is a shortcut, which is in Vim my leader and then K, standing for stack. And all that'll do is it'll stack exec GHCI with the current file. And so I use that workflow a fair bit. It's not super traditional, and I'm open to doing other things. I've been trying out Haskero and stuff like that. But yeah, one problem I've found in Haskell projects is often if you're kind of like adding dependencies or changing things, then any kind of like language servers or IDEs or things like that kind of have a bit of a hard time kind of updating themselves in accordance with that change. And my cute little Vim setup doesn't have that problem. Now that being said, I've just installed NeoVim, which doesn't support interactive system commands. So I might actually remove that alias so I don't keep typing it. So I think it's in .aliases, and then here they are, yeah. So let's just make them be regular Vim for now. And then I guess I'll want to source that. Now let's try that out. So if I open up my main file, no, it's still using NeoVim. That's very interesting. Very interesting indeed. So let's double check it is working. Normal Vim. It is. I wonder why that's happening. I think what I'll do is just open a new terminal to double check that that's going to work. Well, I don't know. Yeah. Vim alias to Vim, very funny. Let's try that. I know this is fascinating to watch, but it'll save us some frustration later. Okay, there we go, great. That'll do. So, yeah, what was next? Let's do our API. So back onto the Scotty homepage, we'll just copy that word for word for now. And rather than put a whole bunch of modules and stuff like that, let's just whack it all in the main module for now. And see how that goes. Yeah, I do like to put in most of the top level type signatures most of the time. Let's see if that works. Supposedly we have a web server on port 3000. We do. That's fantastic. And I think maybe there was another route in there where if we get word, we should say something. Let's test that. Yes, fantastic. Looks like we're in business with our Scotty. So maybe what we'll do then is have a few routes. So rather than do all of this in the one big code block, I might split them up. And so what I'll do is I'll say this one is the default route, something like that. That's okay. And then, one thing I really like is the language extension BlockArguments. It's just a minor convenience, but it's got good aesthetics. So let's try that. Yeah, looks good. It's looking good. Yeah, great. So maybe if we import some more stuff, we can get some more terse little terse type signatures. So let's go. I'm surprised that Scotty doesn't export these types, actually. I would, I guess it's data.text that we want. Let's see. Yep. Oh, lazy, I guess. And then action T. Surely that is exposed, you would think. Well, let's see. It is not. Interesting. So let's comment that out. There's action M, which is a type alias. And that is already text IO. Well, that's very good. So let's use that. And then don't need text anymore since we're not referencing it. And suddenly everything's nice and clean again. Great. The Vim plugin that I'm using to kind of show me any little errors is called Ale. So if you haven't used that before, you're missing out. It's awesome. It's not 100% seamless, but it ain't bad. Okay, in the interest of, you know, not diving too far before our screencasting software crashes or something like that, I'll keep saving it to 10-minute marks, and maybe make myself a coffee or something, so we'll have a few chunks of video rather than one video, but I think that should be fine. I'll see you again soon.